Ethan woke up to the sound of rain. It had been 2 months since Leela, and the world hadn't ended. That was the strangest part, how life kept moving even when his heart had stalled. The first few weeks had been a blur of sleepless nights and hollow chests, but now the pain had dulled to something quieter. Not gone, but softer. He rolled out of bed and opened his notebook. The pages were filled with half-finished thoughts, angry scribbles and fragments of poetry that didn't rhyme. At first, writing had been a way to purge the hurt, but lately it had become something else. A way to rediscover himself outside of we. He started saying yes to things he used to say no to. Mason dragged him to an open mic night downtown. Ethan didn't perform, but he listened. He really listened. To strangers pouring their souls into words and music. For the first time, in a long time, he felt connected to something bigger than his own sadness. He signed up for photography class at the community center. His teacher, an old man with ink-stained fingers, told him, "The best shots come when you stop looking for perfection and start seeing what's actually there." Ethan wasn't sure if he was talking about photos or life, but it stuck with him. Leela still crossed his mind, but less like a storm and more like distant thunder. He didn't block her on social media, but he muted her. Not out of bitterness, but out of necessity. Some wounds needed air to heal, not bandages. One afternoon, he found a sweater of hers stuffed in the back of his closet. He held it for a moment, then dropped it into a donation bin without drama. It wasn't a grand gesture, just a quiet acknowledgement that some things weren't his to hold on to anymore. He learned how to be alone without being lonely. Some nights he'd drive to the edge of town, park his car, and watch the sky. No music, no phone, just silence and stars. In those moments, he began to notice things he'd forgotten. The way his own thoughts sounded when they weren't tangled in someone else's. The simple pleasure of his own company. He even went on a date. Just one. It was awkward and sweet and didn't lead to anything, but he didn't have to. It was proof that his heart wasn't a ruin, just a room being rearranged. One morning, Ethan realized he couldn't quite remember the exact shade of Lila's eyes. It didn't hurt like he thought it would. Instead, it felt like stepping into a new season. The past wasn't erased, it was just no longer the compass for his present. He kept writing, kept taking notes, kept breathing. And slowly, without fanfare, he began to recognize himself again. Not the boy who loved her, but the man who survived it. Months later, Ethan stood at the edge of the same lake where he and Lila used to watch sunsets. The water was different now, choppier, more alive. He raised his camera and snapped a picture. Not of the horizon, but of the waves crashing against the rocks. When he looked at the photo later, he didn't see what was missing. He saw what was there. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough. Loving someone is hard.
Losing that love is even harder. But moving on, that's the true challenge of someone's being. And don't think it comes quickly, because it doesn't. But take your time. Truly find yourself no matter what that looks like for you. And day after day, it'll only become easier.